Um, well, thank you very much for being here today for this interview, Klayds. My first question is within Schneider Electric, what is the contribution of procurement to the digital business transformation?
Thank you for the question, Hervé. Before I answer that question, let me give a little bit of background on Schneider business model. I think that's important to realize that we've moved from a really product-based business model to more of a service-based business model. So today, Schneider Electric is leveraging its park and its assets of products that have been sold over the year by connecting them, so by creating connected product, and this product being a low voltage breaker, drive and actuator, or sensor that are at your customer facility. So connecting them to the world, like the infamous IoT, Internet of Things, and using either the network of the customer, so the his own network, what we call the edge control, of the cloud, to start collecting data from these tools and using this data to bring some value to our customer. And these values might be a better usage of electric consumption, as an example, or chipping in the preventive maintenance of some of the equipment, and also potentially making a little bit of recommendation how to become more sustainable, etc., etc. So that business model really evolved into a business that was product focused to more of a service and potentially consultancy business model using or install based. So when you look at this dynamic, you really need to start thinking how I'm going to collect this data, so through the cloud, how I'm going to make sure that I'm building the right application that are relevant to my customer to help him controlling his consumption of energy, or to become more sustainable, and or to establish a program of preventive maintenance, and how I'm going to be able to provide all of this in a very secure environment. We've heard very lately a lot of case hospital or administration around the world that are being cyber attacked. So that is not acceptable for our customer. So the role of a procurement, on top of building products and providing the material and or the service, is becoming much more integrated within the business by working with the business and or customer solution people to provide the right infrastructure. So setting up the right contract framework with your cloud provider, setting up the right, identifying and setting up the right contract with potential startup that can help us develop any apps that we will use, or even working with the big names of information technology to jointly define a solution that we will provide to our customers. So changing from a supply and supply chain world to really a business driven approach, where we do interact with some products or some services or some cloud and technology that will be used in the solution that we are providing to our final customer.
Thank you. You mentioned cyber attack. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more and provide a concrete example of what you've been doing from a cybersecurity point of view.
Yeah, so that's we've tailored completely the approach that we are taking on cybersecurity. We do not have a one-size-fits-all, and we are not covering all of our suppliers. But we've identified a list of 5,000 suppliers that we've classified around 4 main criteria. So critical supplier and high-risk supplier. And we have roughly 200 suppliers that are in these categories. And we'll come back on what that means for how we work with them. And then we have the next category is moderate suppliers, moderate risk suppliers. So here we are roughly 800 suppliers, and the remaining suppliers, 4,000, are low risk. But as I said earlier, because we do interact with customer now through our supplier or through our product, we are taking an approach that removes completely any risk. So for the critical and the high-risk supplier, we are in a scenario, we are monitoring them real time. We have few partners, a few products that are helping us to do that. And we are really engaged with them. With the highly critical supplier, which are less than 100 suppliers, we are even having some scenario planning with them and using our security operations center, having some drills where we are trying penetration and making sure that they are reacting appropriately. Of course, we are not doing that with all our suppliers. We are really using the segmentation that we've created to take a tailored and bespoke approach with each and every of them. But the clear message here is that's not something that we can take lightly. We need to segment the supplier base. We need to have a very strong engagement with the critical suppliers. And we need to rely also on certification that are existing with a company like EcoVadis launched really lately scoring on cybersecurity and making sure that we are addressing each and every suppliers, the one that you've identified, on cybersecurity.
Thanks a lot. We hear more and more people telling that COVID is going to accelerate digitalization, and this is going to push companies to access more technology from outside. What's your view on this, and how is this impacting Schneider Electric?
So use of technology, absolutely. I think we've learned in one day that we could not travel anymore. We could not even go to the office anymore. So we really had to instantly almost use tools that we were not used to use, if I may say so, in the past. So if you start looking at how it impacted us and how we play a role, we had to very rapidly become an agile and very responsive organization to support not only the business on the interaction with the customer, but also the way we were interacting with our supplier. I'll take a few examples on some of the product that we are offering to our customer, but also that we are using with our supplier. As simple as when you need to audit or when you need to repair a tool that is in your factory or at the customer location, we introduce virtual tours of factory and/or virtual glasses that enable our technician to stay at this station and to start using the person that is at the supplier and/or the customer location using these glasses and guide them through how to do proper maintenance and so on and so forth. I'd like to emphasize also the importance of e-collaboration with the suppliers. We used to be very email-driven or visit-driven and so on and so forth. And from overnight, we really had to change the way we were working with our suppliers. So the supplier relationship management transformed almost overnight. We had to use tools like Zoom, Teams, you name it, to interact with our supplier. But more importantly, we had to digitize a lot of activity that we take it for granted in the past, like invoices management, like collaborations, messages, virtual audit, and using all the tools that we are provided by supplier relationship management software or systems today to overnight use these devices and under these processes compared to what we used to do. And in that sense, that's accelerating the digitization of the supplier relationship management more than anything else. And of course, that's also increasing the use of cloud solution. And to come back on the previous point, the absolute need for cyber secured solution. That is too many cases today we are hearing again on the TVs or radios of cyber attack, and we just cannot afford that. So overall, it changed the pace. I haven't seen any introduction of things like new blockchains, but that's really helped us accelerating some of the program that we had in the past.
Thank you. I think what's really interesting about Schneider Electric is you've got these collaboration that are going from the startups that are bringing some of this technology to the internet giant who are also both your supplier, partner, and client. So maybe any final advice, success factor you would like to share with the procurement community to succeed in this diverse and extended world?
I think the key, the real key is stop being a procurement organization and be a business partner and speak business, understand the long-term needs of your customer, the customer of the company, and consequently of your stakeholder or colleagues within the organization, and start thinking about how you're going to support them by finding the right startup or by negotiating the right deal. An interesting fact is we have suppliers that are customer of us. The big data center that we are using for cloud solution, they are also big customer of us. So that's also giving more importance on the way you are managing your supplier relationship, because they are not only a supplier, they are big customer for us, which reinforces the fact that you need to have a business mindset and you really need to understand the technology, the solution that your company is selling to your customer, because these customers are also your suppliers. So the dynamic of the procurement framework is changing, and you have taken a much more business approach than the way you used to operate in the past. Product, service, customer. So that's really changing the way we are operating internally, but also externally with our key suppliers, which are also our key customers.
Thanks.